Good morning or good Friday, if you're Susie. The day is finally here. We are in a cup final, which is traditional for Liverpool. We're always in some sort of final or other. And the boys could just unmute themselves there, just so you know. I had you all on mute beforehand because I was tired listening to you. Only kidding. So yes, we are in the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle. A big test for both managers, boys. Eddie Howe having the burden of trying to win Newcastle's first major trophy in a long, long time. And then Arne Slot trying to win his first trophy of two that he could win this season, because he's definitely winning one of them. We're joined by Cosy, Suzie, and Brian. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Good, Mecca.
It's a good way to be, isn't it? We're in a final. I've had an actual night's sleep for once, so that's a good thing. I'm prepared for it. I'll be able to stay awake for the whole thing. But let's go into the meat and potatoes, because it is Sunday and it's Sunday lunchtime type thing. Here is the lineup. I'll just make it a little bit bigger there. That's what she said. Surprise for me, Caoimhín Kelleher in goal. And then Gakpo's not starting, is he?
No, it's Jota.
They're lying swines. They are lying swines with their. I'll have to fix that. But I think it's Jota, isn't it, up front? We talked about this a lot, about who could start. While I correct that nonsense, tell me, gentlemen, what do you think of the lineup?
Very predictable. I think we all would have predicted the lineups of both sides, to be honest. I probably would have got them right because of the injuries of certain players in key positions. So I'm happy with the lineup. I know I kind of mentioned this on the Thursday show, I think, and on the Friday morning show, where I could have got talked into the four midfielders with Curtis Jones on the left. I could have got talked into that a little bit to help save the legs of our midfield and help against their midfield. But I've been more talked into doing Luis Diaz left wing against Kieran Trippier and try and get an early booking on him, because it's not the same Trippier as it was 3 years ago. He's coming towards the end. And if they had Lewis Hall fit, it probably would have been Livramento playing right back and Lewis Hall playing left back. And then Trippier wouldn't be playing. So I am okay with the lineup. I think it's a Liverpool attacking lineup, which is nice. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Can't wait.
There you go. Brian, what do you think of the lineup in terms of, let's say, Kelleher? I think there was talk that Allison would get a start in goal. I'm not worried about Kelleher being in goal. I've never been worried about Kelleher replacing Becker in goal for big games. But it is, I mean, if he wins this trophy today and then ends up leaving, this is a fantastic send-off for him, isn't it? I mean, this could be the game of his life.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was thinking right there. This has always been his tournament for the most part anyway, right there, when he's been with us. I mean, so it'd be only fair right there for him to get the start on this. But yeah, I'm not worried about Kelleher, especially, I think that Kelleher's penalty record right there is good if it gets to that point. And, I think that he's the best number 2 there is out there in the league right now. So, I'm fully confident that Kelleher can take care of his own.
Mm-hmm. You're on mute, Mark.
You're on mute, Mark.
For us, actually, because you're on mute.
What is going on today? That's what happens when I get a night's sleep.
That's what I'm saying. He's had a night's kip and he's fell apart.
And I'm all over the place. It's ridiculous. That's because I'm literally used to existing on 3 hours sleep a night for 20 years. It's a nightmare. See, you give me your opinions while I try and fix this computerized do-damn nonsense. It's not even Thursday, fellas. It's not even Thursday, and it's all
going to move 4-3-3 if you carry on.
Yes, right. I'm going. There you go. Go
ahead. No, like Brian was saying, this is Kelleher's competition. Whether we win or lose this, it's not going to be down to Kelleher. He deserves this. I would have played Nunes instead of Jota, to be honest with you. I think I'm personally done with Jota now. He, as great as he is, and he's probably the best finisher we've had since Sturridge, I think. But he just the injuries are taking a toll on him, and it seems like he doesn't offer much pace. He's intelligent, but I don't think his body does what his brain is telling him to do. So yeah, I think I would have picked Nunes on this one, but we'll see.
I'm not sure about that, but I like.
Yeah, I wanted to get on to that. I don't think I trust putting Nunez on as the game changer. I think Jota would have been a better game changer, wouldn't he?
No.
You know,
I think Jota starting's the best idea here. For two reasons. Number one, you've got to plan the game that it could be 120 minutes. That's one thing. Number two, I think Jota pulling Dan Burn out of position because he comes deep could just open a world of space up for Salah against Liverpool, who's playing out of position. I really like, by the way, as a right back. I think he's a good player, but I'm not sure at left back. And then Dan Burn on that side. I think if Jota can come deep and then you throw the Nunez on, well, I'm going to go in behind you now. And do you know what I mean? I just think it could cause more problems for Newcastle where Dan Burn doesn't know if he's coming or going kind of thing. So I'm okay with Jota, but there's also a part where, again, you've got to plan it for 120 minutes. I know what people are saying as well. I'd love Jota on a pen, but I'd also like Liverpool to win the game in 90 minutes. So, you know what I mean? It's just one of them, but I just don't think you can trust them as well. And if I'm Dan Burn, by the way, I'd much rather play against Nunez because I know exactly what I'm getting out of him. A bit of a battle, a bit of a fight. You know what I mean? Running in behind, and I can deal with that. With Jota coming so deep and stuff like that, you're not really sure what you're going to get. And also, if I'm Dan Burn, I can wind him up. And I know I can get him on a nearly yellow inside 20. Do you know what I mean? And then that whole game changes again. So, I don't know. I'm really happy with the Jota pick, to be honest.
Brian, in terms of, we talked on Thursday, I think, about the possibility, because we got to put the bay points out there. The possibility that Salah wasn't the big game player, and of course that was untrue. But we need him to have a big game today, don't we? I mean, I think because he made a good point consistently that their midfield could potentially out muscle ours, out physicality ours, especially with the exhaustion of having the PSG game and everything. So having end product, it's important in any game, but it's going to be doubly important today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And, because seconds what Kazi was saying earlier right there, why Jota is starting is for that main reason right there, to pull players to open up Salah. I mean, it's I think Salah and Diaz both need to have a bigger game, and it's a shame that Cody's out right there, because if Cody was out right there, I'd probably put Diaz in a number 9 spot right there and had Cody on the left. But it is what it is right there. But I mean, it's the midfield right there just kind of gives me a little bit heebie-jeebies right there with their midfield. I mean, it's a strong. There's some strong kids in that midfield. So I mean, we just have to be on our game right there. This is going to be a big match right there from McAllister. A big match from McAllister.
Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Yay! You got it right there. There's right.
Ian Rush isn't playing, is he? I'm kidding.
Oh, that's it. Right, that's it. We're done. We're losing this already. Although, to be fair, I would take Ian Rush now than Darwin Nunez up front. He still has a 12-inch long neck. He'll win the headers. Susie, that midfield, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, we need them to have the freshest of legs today, don't we? And I would have to hope that Arne Slot gave them like an extra day off or something like that to fully recover, because if they're in any way exhausted, it's going to become a battle that we don't really want to have, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if they did become exhausted, we can pay Curtis Jones, because apparently he slept really well after missing that penalty. So, he's well rested up.
Yes.
But I agree with Brian. The midfield needs to have a massive game. And I think, we'll probably get to obviously we're going to get to this towards the end of the show, but Szoboszlai has to have the biggest game of the season right now, over today. I think he's so key. McAllister, obviously, we know what we get with McAllister, but Szoboszlai, like he'll blow hot and cold sometimes, but he's that transition between the midfield to attack, and him with Salah up there. When Szoboszlai's on it, he's world class, and I think he needs to have a huge game in that midfield today.
Yeah.
Got lost there. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. What I mean, that is like for me, Szoboszlai is he's the link between the defense and the attack, and we know about the quality on the end product. It could be variable. Let's put it that way. Sometimes it can be good, but an awful lot of time you're like, we need a bit more there. But then, nonetheless, like Jordan Henderson before him, he gets the ball from A to B and supports that attack. if we're going to compete with that Newcastle midfield, Cozzy, the speed of transitions is going to be more important, do you think, than the actual, pretty play around the midfield with the passing?
Yes, I think it's the way you can get through the Newcastle midfield is playing your pass early. It has to be a strong, quick pass early in between and beat the press. That's how you beat every good press. But because of their size and stuff like that, I think there's a part of this, though, when you're talking about the midfield battle in terms of Szoboszlai, you need Szoboszlai running beyond Jota. That's when he has his best games, when he runs beyond the 9 and he gets in those positions. Do you know what I mean? Like, that to me, if I'm him and I'm looking going, well, there's Dan Burn and a Shah, who are good players, don't get me wrong, but they're not. Use Sven Botman, for example, who's a better player than both of them. And it's, you know what I mean? And then there's also, again, the Livramento arguments. You need the Szoboszlai part of that. I think this is the biggest key. He has to be going past Jota. If he doesn't get past Jota, we come a bit like 4-4-0, 4-5-0, sorry. Do you know what I mean? And that's what kills us sometimes. But I've got a feeling he's going to play really well today. It's a wide open pitch for him. There'll be loads of space in terms of when he gets the ball. But I just need him off the ball, just to, again, those runs and beyond. I never question his ability off the ball. He's tremendous off the ball. He's our most important midfielder off the ball by a mile, actually. But he is concerning as such. But there's also a part of this again now, as we mentioned tiredness. West Ham played on Monday, exactly the same 11. They played Monday night. Liverpool played Tuesday. We played an extra 30. I get that, completely fair. But then Newcastle argue, but we played in the FA Cup last week, and you didn't. The day off. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like we're both rolling into this in terms of, someone's had 2 weeks off and we've had 3 days. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. It's a bit, it'll be a bit more 50-50 kind of thing. But yeah, the midfield's always going to be interesting as well because their subs aren't really built. Sean Longstaff's a good player, Lewis Marley are good players, but they're not really as good as the starting 3. I think there's a massive drop off from the starting 3. So it'll be super interesting, really.
It would be because he said West Ham there played on Monday night for some odd reason.
Didn't Newcastle play on West Ham on Monday night?
Yeah, but he said West Ham like it's a WWE 3-way game, which would make it interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's a proposal in years to come.
West Ham played Newcastle Monday. I might lose my mind.
But you said West, like we were playing West Ham. You got confused. You were thinking Newcastle there.
I wish we played West Ham instead of
that'd be great. Yeah.
Otherwise, there we are.
Here's a question I want to ask Brian. We've worried about Gravenberch's legs over the past few weeks. Is that going to be a factor, do you think?
I mean, it's been a factor for the past couple of matches right there. I mean, we saw that it's been a drop off for him in a couple of ways right there. I mean, for him to go out there and stay on the pitch that long against PSG, I know he's kind of hit that same thing that we were talking about. But the amount of minutes that kid's been on that kid's legs this year is crazy. I mean, we haven't had anybody who's been legitimate enough to go out there to take over from him. And plus, it goes back to what Kazi said many times. Slot doesn't trust the squad right there to go and swap him out. So, I mean, it kind of happens with it that Gravenberch is going to get run off. It's something that needs to be, I know we're not talking about it, it's something that needs to be addressed this summer. But yeah, I'm kind of concerned.
So in terms of here's what I want to ask Suzy. We lost Trent and we have Kwanzaa in that role. Trent is so important to the attacking side of the game with the passes, especially the long diagonals that can get us into from a strong side to a weak side attacking situation. That's a phrase for the Yanks out there. But we can hurt teams in behind with Trent's passing. Kwanzaa doesn't have that, but what he does have is a better defensive sensibility. And I believe he's up against Harvey Barnes. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. The defending side could become way more important, couldn't it, today, rather than anything we would have gotten from Trent. And that's not to downgrade anything Trent would rather have Trent on the field. But we need somebody with a defensive mindset until we figure out what Newcastle are doing, don't we? Yeah, and what I like about Kwanzaa is that he's cocky, I mean, and we saw that when he made that comment about Matip, he probably didn't come out the way he wanted it to come out, but he's confident. And when we saw him come on against PSG, he was running up and down that wing, almost scored a goal. I don't think he doesn't really look nervous. I think when he looks nervous when he makes a mistake. But I mean, at the end of the day, this
this is all we have. And we've got to give him all the support we can. But he doesn't seem like a player that needs. And if for whatever reason he makes a mistake or whatever, it's not on him. He's kind of forced into that position, and he's been there and done it. He's won more trophies than Harry Kane has. So no, I don't. For players like Kwanzaa and Kelleher, I don't. Even if they have a really poor game, I wouldn't slate them. I think, especially Kwanzaa, he's been pushed into a position that he hasn't asked for, and and I'm confident that he can do his job today, because he's pacey. He has got some intelligence on him. He's cocky, and I like him. He's got the world's best defender alongside him as well. I'm cool with Kwanzaa.
In terms of the Konate Van Dijk partnership, Cozzy, on a technical level, it's nothing to worry about. But are you, like me, worried about the stupidity that Konate occasionally displays with the over physicality in sensitive areas of the field? Because I feel like with a league program, you can kind of get away with the odd push in the box that concedes a penalty, because you have games to go that you can make up any shortfall, just as a subconscious thing. But in the final, that one penalty you give away, or that free kick you give away in a bad area, could be the goal that decides the whole thing. So we really need him to not be stupid today, don't we?
He's a weird centre half to me, gents. I like him a lot. I think he's a good player. I've said this before, and me jury's out. I think he's a bridesmaid and not a bride. I think he's a great number 2, but I don't think he's number 1. I think he's a Varane when there's a Ramos. Look great alongside, be brilliant, but I don't think when Varane goes on his own to United, he gets found out a little bit.
Honcho.
Yeah, Honcho's still top centre half, weren't he? And Hippier, you know what I mean, was there kind of thing. And there's loads of players like that, by the way. I don't think Daniel Agger was a bride. I thought he was a bridesmaid. I thought he played alongside Carrigan and players like that, you know what I mean? And whatever. He's still a good player, by the way. I'm not doubting that. My big thing for Konate is that he loves to win a battle. But sometimes you don't need to go into a battle. He loves to go for the head and stuff like that. Just stand off him. If he takes the ball down his chest from a 70-yard pump fell and turns you, then you still beat him for pace anyway, because you're rapid. So, and I think sometimes a really good striker like an Isak could play on that. I'd probably agree with that a little bit. It's not really about the super free kicks or anything like that. I'm not worried about him, because I've seen him get man of the match in the Champions League final against Real Madrid, and he was man of the match. I don't care what was given out on the day. He was unbelievable that day. So he's played big games of football. I thought he was. I think it was last year when him and Van Dijk with a bunch of kids just won the League Cup for us. Then I think he started and he was excellent that day. I remember him being excellent, and he's just again, he's a young age and I get it, but he's getting to that age now where you can kind of see the old man next to you, and it's time for you to be the main man. And I don't know if he ever's going to be, but if he's at today, that's the one you stand on. Of course you do. Do you know what I mean? That's the one you stand on and go, if you're going to foul me or you're going to do whatever you like. You know what I mean? But most Liverpool centre-half will feel like that the striker stands on them, because they're not going to go and stand on Virgil van Dijk. So if you're the second centre-half, you're going to get the man every time, aren't you? You're like, any chance you want to go and play on him and I can get a bit of the ball? No, because I'm getting no joy out of him. So I'm going to play on you. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's an R1 fella, but the Kwanzaa one's interesting, because I think that's the key battle of the whole game. Because if you're Newcastle, you can't have damned if you do and damned if you don't a little bit. So Newcastle can kind of sit in here. Let's say Newcastle sit in a little bit, right? Which Eddie Howe can do, because he's done it before and he's grinded results out that way. They sit in a bit. Liverpool score 2 and go to 0 at half time. All the fans are going, why didn't he run at that centre half? Why didn't we get at him? Because he's a centre half playing right back. Do you know what I mean? And then if you go at him and Liverpool score 2, they go, why didn't you just sit in? Fucking hell to Liverpool. You know what I mean? There, boss. Why did we do that? Why did we open the game up? So you can't have caught in that 50-50 kind of scenario, aren't you? But if we're Newcastle fans now, you're going to say, let's get the ball early and often to Harvey Barnes and run out. It's you know what I mean? Like we're doing with Luis Diaz and Trippier. It's the same conversation. So, but I think that's the key battle on the pitch. But I was so impressed with Kwanzaa when he came on against PSG. I thought he was fantastic and deserved all the credit in the world. Didn't deserve to be on the losing side, to be honest. So if we get that kind of performance again, I don't think I'll be worried at all.
Brian, just to stick on that one kind of idea, is the fact that Kwanzaa is a more natural defender, is that going to free up Salah a little bit to not have to do as much defending.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it'll definitely make it mean he doesn't have to backtrack as much, because if you watch how with him and Trent goes, Trent will drop and go more toward inside of the midfielder, and sometimes Salah has to go back and cover that side of the pitch. So I think it definitely frees him up right there. It actually probably makes a little bit of a better job for Gravenberch also too, because there would be less of that room that he has to cover. Because you remember how back in the day when Trent made these runs, and when you had Fabinho came through, basically was dropped back and covered that whole right side while Trent ran. You're not going to have that situation right here, and this kind of the same thing happens when you have Bradley out there. You don't see the same that same thing happen. It opens up that attack a little bit more. So yeah, I think it's going to be I agree with Kasi. That's going to be the battle of the on the whole entire pitch right there. It's going to be how they're going to go, because they have to kind of go at Kwanzaa. It's not a choice right now. I mean, you're going to go after the youngest person. I mean, he's 22 years old, and he's playing technically out of position. So I mean, that's like prime. That's like prime filet mignon basically right there. For another manager to go after.
Mark, there's a part right going on the Kwanzaa tactical battle as well a little bit. When you're a centre-half line out of position, the first thing you want to do is just get the ball down the line. Because you don't want to take 5 or 6 touches on the ball and get the pressure on. You just got to turn back inside to your defender. So if he is under a bit of pressure, that might free Salah up to get the early ball in behind. And go to Livramento, go, well, you're a right back playing left back. Do you know what I mean? You're going to want me to cut inside, but I'm going to keep running on the outside of you so you feel uncomfortable. Because the one thing when you're a right back playing left back, you want your winger to cut inside so you're on your favourite strong foot. Because Salah likes to cut inside, as you know, and get that cross off or whip it with his left. That's what Livramento wants. So the one thing that Kwanzaa could do today is when he gets the ball early and often, is just whip it down that line and go, Mo, you can run past him there. And let's see, that could be his way out. And his get-out clause all day is just getting that ball down the line early. And by the way, Mo Salah wants the ball early and often and quickly. He doesn't want 15, 20 laboured passes, and he gets the ball with a player 2 yards off him. No, he wants it quick. Bang, I'll make that run for you all day and bail you out as well. And that could help him massively in the game.
Talking about Livramento, let's hope the technology gods have worked here. No, they haven't. Why is that one up? Because I don't know.
I'm
there we go. Now we figured it out. Look at that technology. I can do things on computer.
Is Alan Shearer playing?
Yes, I think he is. I think he is. Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be arrogant and say that's not a side I can worry about. There's definitely dangers there, Susie. But we still, maybe with the exception of Isak up front, player for player should be a better team than they, shouldn't we?
We should be, but I think 120 minutes in these players might have physically taken its toll. I mean, that midfield's strong. Joe Linton's back, Tonali, Guimaraes. That's a tasty midfield. I don't know. After playing 120 minutes or going up against them three, I mean, we say it pretty much every week. The game's going to be won and lost in midfield, and yeah, really, if you can stay on top of that midfield and control the game, there, the game, will be comfortable. But yeah, I wouldn't. That yeah, just looking at them three, it's and obviously you've got Isak and Jacob Murphy. He's quite good. It's quite good on that wing. He's caused some damage. Him against Robertson again after 120 minutes. It's going to be a good football match, and I think the game will be won or lost on mistakes as well. But yeah, it's for the neutral, it'll be a great match. I think for us, it's going to be very nervous.
Do you think there's scope because of the size of the game? Do you think there's scope that Tonali put a bet on? And they're playing with a 2-man midfield for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. He's got Isak first, hasn't he? He's got Isak first.
But I mean, Brian, the front three is Harvey Barnes is such a weird player as well. I want to say they're a danger, but Harvey Barnes is really hot and cold. Like when he's good, he's really good. And he was one of the standout players at Leicester, and a tailor-made player for Brendan Rodgers in terms of he can create things all by himself. But then there's some games where you look like you may as well put the corner flag in that position and you're going to get just as much out of him. we want Liverpool to win. Obviously, that's just logical. But I'm not into. I'm like Trevor used to say. I'm not into the heroic win. Like if this team can have a bad game against us, I'm all for it. That'd be the dream, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, grind out a result no matter what. I mean, with it. I mean, but yeah, it's the midfield. Harvey Barnes, like you said right there, is interesting. I'm just more concerned with Joel Linton. It was being able to muscle out muscle in the midfield. That's one of my concerns I have in there. But I mean, it's a strong midfield. But look at that lineup right there. Out of these players right there, I mean, I really think that Trippier Schär side right there is pretty suspect. I think we could probably definitely exploit that side, and I'm be interesting to see whether Slot thinks the same exact way.
Let's see, because we talked about going into 120 minutes. Let's hope it doesn't get that far. Let's hope we have it won by the 90th or the 95th or whatever. But let's look at the subs benches. I mean, to have Alisson as your sub if Adam Hamster Keller is a bloody fantastic sub to be able to make. Apart from, I'm going to say, apart from Chiesa, I don't see Chiesa getting any meaningful game time until the league's wrapped up. Maybe. I'm not denigrating James McConnell, but he's an academy player coming up and getting his minutes to develop his career. But I'd be quite happy to shut the game down with Endo. I would be okay with Nunes coming on if he could cause a bit of chaos if needed. Despite everything that happened, causing with Curtis Jones' estate, I just think he was just being a stupid kid about it, like being like that. That's the way now. Like there's a generation now that don't have learning experience from losses. It's just get over it and move on, and we go to the next thing. I'm not going to fault the kid for that. Gakpo, you would hope that he's a little bit fitter now and could get into the game. And Elliot, I don't think he ever lets us down really. Maybe occasionally, but he's worth a good bit of drama for the opposition. Costas for Robertson at this point is, if you take the balance of the pros and cons, it's much of a muchness between the two. But I don't see anybody on the Callum Wilson. Maybe he could be a sneaky one for a goal. But if the game is to be won by the benches, we are in a better position, don't you think?
Yeah, all by a mile. Yeah, I mean, again, they've got a couple of injuries as well, which kill them. Like we have technically. I think there's a part of this where if it goes deep, that's why I think I said this on the Thursday of the Friday show. Can't remember. It'll be really interesting on the 75th of withdrawing and see what Newcastle do on the 75th. Do they stick or twist? They haven't won a trophy in 70 years. And do they go, we can win this inside 15 minutes? Or do they keep it tight at one extra time and pens and just, have the heroic defeat? But in the end, it's still a defeat. And I'm super interested by that, because if he starts throwing Callum Wilson on the 75th, or Osula, who's a striker, and players like that, or Lewis Marley's like an attacking mid, because you want to start throwing those players on the 75th when it's tight, and then Liverpool go, okay, we'll just bring on Cody Gakpo now and Darwin Núñez and Harvey Elliott and open the game up. Then, if you want to open this game up, then I will back us to open the game up more than you, in a weird way, and we can beat you that way. So, yeah, our bench is so much deeper, which we all expect. But again, it's nice for the managers to turn around and go, oh, there's a lot of lads here coming in the game, and that's a nice position to be in.
So see, the idea that we could lose the midfield battle, at least physically, does Endo become maybe the most important sub, given that we've all spoken about how good their midfield can be in terms of physicality, and combined with Ryan Gravenberch's apparent tiredness, especially in the second half, late in the second half of games. Could that one sub, more than a goal-scoring sub, could that be the one thing that gets us over the line if it's a tight game and we have to have the narrow lead? Endo could be the hero.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he's shown it. And I think games like this is when heroes are made. And we saw that last year when we won the cup last year. You saw these youngsters, and and going back to what Kazi said last year, most of the team will never ever play for Liverpool again, but they walk away with a League Cup medal, and if this is Endo's last season or whatever, he's going to be important to us, and I think it's important to us for the rest of the season. And I wish he did come on against PSG, but yeah, I think this game is, if we're going to win this, he has to come on, and I think he'll have a huge part in seeing this game out.
Right, so we want to go and see the lads walk out into Wembley, so we're going to wrap it up here. Just very quickly, just give us your score prediction, Brian.
2-0.
Cozzy.
2-0.
Suzie.
I'll go for 3-1.
I've got to go with the 2-0 as well. I think Slot Special is probably good for my heart more than anything else to get us over the line. Spencer is 2-1. Darwin Núñez will score. You get a hat-trick in a 2-0 win.
It's the most Darwin Núñez of all time, isn't it? Just for your score today.
Okay, yeah. And give him a chance to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will be back for a post-match come hell or high water, but let's hope it's high water. But for everybody else, make sure you are liking and subscribing on the YouTube, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, formerly known as X, and all the other kind of stuff on the social medias. If you don't like and subscribe, you won't know what's happening. But we shall be back in, hopefully, 90 to 100 minutes and no more than that, because who needs the aggravation of extra time and penalties again. So let's hope the lads get it done. Up the Reds. It's cup final time. It's where we belong. We will see you in a bit. Peace out and enjoy the